Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Dr. Faizan. Today, we are again here with an interesting webinar that will last for an hour. We'll talk about some basics and we'll explain this later on. Today is a good day here in Florida, and I hope everybody here watching is doing well, healthy, and safe. Before we get into it, let me welcome my co-host today in this session, Dr. Sedan Dogan from Turkey. How are you, Sedan?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to the session. It's good to see you
Thank you.
again.
Thank you so
After many,
much.
many sessions we attend together and host together. So Dr. Sedan will help me with the session today because internets are a little bit unstable, and we just want to make sure that everything goes smooth. So Sedan, welcome again. Um,
Thank you.
I
Pleasure.
also thank you. I also want to welcome every other person who is watching right now on YouTube platform. So thank you everyone for joining and for following this platform. I have a couple of things to say before we move into the session. I am really grateful for every single person who has sent me a message motivating to continue doing this type of stuff that we do from this channel. One thing that you all should know is that every single thing that I'm doing from this channel is absolutely free. There's no charge to anything. It's absolutely free. And with one intention, and the intention is to make sure that people have access to knowledge and to skills so that they can develop themselves to do good research. Now, I would certainly welcome any support that you may want to have, and one of those things would be to subscribe the channel. If you haven't done it yet, it's very simple. The window that you are watching this video right now, right under that window, there's a button that is to subscribe. And then the other thing is, if you like any other videos on the channel, because there's so many more videos that are very interesting. If you like any of the other videos, and if you think that your colleagues, your friends, your students, or your professors, anybody might benefit from them, make sure to share these with them so that more and more people can get benefit from it. That's the only thing I request all of you to do if you haven't done it yet. So with that, let's get into, oh yeah, a couple of other very interesting announcements. So one thing that I want to share with all of you is a newsletter that we have started. Right now, I'll share it on my screen. You can see this one. This is a newsletter I put together. In this newsletter, we have very interesting content. It's some links to some interesting videos. Then there are interviews with some very well-established scholars. There's some this is one of my students. She put together a very interesting drawing, something related to research in a fun way. Then I also interview PhD students who have received scholarships to ask them how did they do it or what are some important things in their view. Then I share some links to methodology related articles from different fields, so this can also help you with your research methods. Again, some interviews with the professors, and then some events and other things. So one thing I would say is just go to research based Facebook page, and there's a link that you can sign up to so that you can receive this newsletter every month. Again, this is completely free. You do not have to pay anything for it. It's just that if you are interested in something like this. And then the other interesting thing that is coming up is in this newsletter towards the end, it says here we are starting a research mentorship program for early career PhD students, maybe masters if they have a couple of publications. You can read the details here. And this will be a whole 1 year program where we can mentor students and match them with some well-established scholars to be able to publish a paper, all the way from idea generation to writing a paper to dealing with the revisions to dealing with the reviewer comments and to be able to publish it. So everything is on this last page. The form is with this QR code or this URL. You can just go there. It's a small form on Qualtrics that you need to fill in so that we can then pick up people from that pool. All right. So with that, I am now going to come back to my speaker, These are just some interesting insights or updates that I wanted to provide. Now, let's get everybody to our star today, our hero from Pakistan, Dr. Rab Nawaz Lodhi. By now, I guess many people already know him because he has been kind enough to work with me on several webinars on this platform. And I'm very proud to say that, I have received several requests from my channel subscribers to bring him back for some other interesting webinars because many people like his style of explaining things. So, Dr. Rab Nawaz Lodhi, hello and welcome to the channel again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Faizan, for inviting me. Hello, everyone. Salam from Pakistan. So, we are going to talk about a very wonderful topic, which is theory development through ethnography. So, without any delay, I would like to come on the point. So, before going for the formal definition of ethnography, we would like to look at this particular picture, which is relating to the word cloud, and there are different beautiful words with different colors, with different sizes. So you can find some important words like culture, knowledge, education, behavior, society, experience, community, vision, honesty, psychological, anthropological, religious. So all these things are very wonderful. So before going for the formal definition, I would like to share a very wonderful another picture. So we can find some facts about ethnographic research like values, community, experience, meaning. So I'm going to show you the third picture, which is also the word cloud. So these are some words relating to ethnographic research like traditions, celebrity endorsement or traditional lifestyle, culture, dance, behavior, tourism, custom, arts, society, dress, holidays, attitude, festivals, rituals, and folks. So these are all words relating to ethnographic research, because when you go for the ethnographic research, so we find some kinds of these types of realities, because when we talk about ethnographic research, it is all about the analysis of the shared pattern of behavior, beliefs, language among the participants. So I have mentioned three different words. The first one is this is all about the analysis of behavior. The second thing is analysis of beliefs of the people. People have different beliefs. So the third thing is language. So this is the in-depth study. This is the complete qualitative research design where you in depth explore the realities about the people behavior. So how behavior is originated. So if we talk about the behavior, it is basically starts from the attitude, and attitude start from the beliefs, and beliefs starts from the perceptions, and perception starts from the experience. So when people experience the things, they create different perception about different realities in this world. And then definitely if the realities come again and again, they strongly believe on those kinds of realities which they see in their daily routines. So ultimately, according to their beliefs and according to their attitude, they behave, they act and react on different types of scenarios in their lives. So ultimately, ethnography is the study of human behavior. It is the study of human beliefs. It is the study of how we can communicate, how we communicate with the other people. So it is also the study of language. So but the most important thing in ethnographic research is this particular word, immersion. So when we talk about immersion, it is sinking until covered completely with the water. So because we are going to develop a new theory, so we need to go into the water, into the knowledge. So until unless we find some facts, realities about that particular area, we will not be able to come back from that particular depth. So this is all about the ethnographic research, and if you look over the next particular slide, so this particular picture is depicting the actual meaning of immersion. Immersion means sinking down until covered completely with the water. So when we talk about ethnographic research, it is relating to the qualitative research. And in qualitative research, our belief is to challenge the existing theories, to challenge the existing principles. So in qualitative research, we believe in interpretivism paradigm. So we come with the new theories, we come with the new realities. So we go into the depth of the knowledge, and then we come with the new theories, we come with the new findings, we come with the new, something novel in that particular area where this particular research is being conducted. So this is the journey to reality. Facts, things, and the data is uncertain. There are different patterns. There are different, in these days, we are working on the business intelligence software. So this particular term is commonly used. NORA. NORA mean non-obvious relationship. So non-obvious relationship, we find different non-obvious relationship, we link together, and ultimately we come with the very focused and with the very clear themes or concepts. So this is the journey from phenomena to concept. So when we talk about phenomena mean which is difficult to understand. But when we talk about the concept mean which is easy to understand by understanding a particular definition, which explain the different concepts for the purpose of understanding. So we go into that particular depth of the knowledge to dig out the certain facts, certain groundbreaking findings from that particular area. So this is the journey from the unknown to known things. So when we talk about ethnographic research, normally the ethnographer, the researcher, go into the particular culture. This is all about the study of the culture, where we analyze the language, beliefs, and behaviors of the people. So in this particular picture, you can see that the researcher is also in that particular position where the all other participants are in that particular position, or they are doing the same activity. So you need to go into that particular depth to understand their feelings, their emotions, their behavior, and their beliefs. So this is very important in case of ethnographical research study. So you can see that if you go for conducting the ethnographic research, you need to be very in that particular culture. You need to act like the other people who belongs to that particular culture. So this is the phenomena of immersion. You need to go into the depth of that particular area to dig out some kinds of new facts, realities about that particular culture. So this is about this is all about we can say that this is the study of the entire culture group. So we conduct this particular study to dig out the realities about a particular culture. So I belong to Pakistan. If I talk about Pakistan, there are different foods, there are different events, different dresses, different festivals. If Even in Pakistan, there are different provinces, and each province, every province has its own culture. So if we talk about Punjab or Lahore, so there are different types of folk singers, or different historical places, and different dramas or stories, and different ways to celebrate the things, or the different ways to celebrate the different events or festivals. So Basant is very famous event in Punjab, but unfortunately it is banned since the last, I think, 10 years. So because of some problems in Pakistan. So these are all cultures, and if you go to explore these kinds of culture, you need to conduct the ethnographic research. So this is another picture of Punjab depicting the culture, different colors, celebrations, and the way of life or living styles. So we can also see that particular picture, another picture. This is very, these pictures are depicting the culture of Balochistan. So their foods and their dresses and their living styles, how they travel. So all these kinds of things are depicting the culture of that particular province. So Dr. Faizan belongs to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So Pashtun culture is very famous. Their foods are very wonderful, and their people are very nice people. You can find the hospitality culture in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Whenever I visit the universities of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, I find that particular culture. Uh, Food is very, delicious, and the people are very kind, very, helping. And sometimes I say that this is the planet of love, peace, and respect. So Dr. Fizan also belongs to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in Pakistan. So now I'm coming over the next area, which is data collection and triangulation in ethnographic research. So it is very clear that when you go for the ethnographic research, you need to go in particular culture. So you need to spend time, maybe for 1 year or maybe for 3 years, to understand that particular culture. So this is the time period, because if we talk about the ethnographic research, and for example, if you're going for conducting the ethnographic research and you just go for one visit or two visit, and you claim that you are doing ethnographic research, so it is not, because you need to spend your lot of time in that particular culture to understand their living styles and their behavior on different events, because in only 1 day or 2 day you will not be able to understand their culture, their values, and their beliefs. And because with the passage of time, when the events come, then with the passage of time you realize that on that particular event they behave in such kinds of actions or reactions. So in this way you can understand the complete culture in that particular cultural group. So when we talk about data collection method, we can apply different types of data collection methods, qualitative data collection methods in ethnographic research. So this is the umbrella, and under that particular umbrella, we can find different types of data collection, like the formal interview. You can also take the time from the participant, and you can also fix the time and date and place with the participant, and at that particular time, place, and participant, you can also start the recording of the interview. So that would be the formal interview. So the time, date, and the place is fixed in the formal interview, and sometime you go for the semi-structured interviews. So there are some details about the questions you are going to ask during the interview from the participant. So ultimately, the participant will be able to understand what you are going to ask, and what is your purpose for conducting that particular formal interview. So there are another technique which is informal interview. So sometime you go for the informal interview. So if I show you that this is some kind of formal or informal interviews, so you can also conduct some formal interviews with the help of some recording devices like your cell phone, like your cameras. So sometime in maybe some in some cultures, people will not allow you to record the video of their women. So there are some issues in those particular cultures, so they are not open. There are some religious restrictions, and some social or cultural restrictions, so you can not be able to openly talk with your people. So you need to be very careful, because when you go for the ethnographic research, there are some challenges of conducting the ethnographic research. For example, if you are not well aware about their values, and sometimes you speak some words, and sometimes these words are not, you know, the morally or culturally good in that particular culture, then definitely you can face some unexpected reaction from the community. And in this particular scenario, you get some help from the people who are understanding that particular culture, their language. So that particular people or person will be the mediating they will be playing the mediating role between the researcher and the community, that particular community. So ultimately, you need to be very clear about the values and ethics and religious values. For example, in Pakistan or in some Muslim countries, their values are different. Even within Pakistan, in Sindhi culture, Sindh is the province of Pakistan. So there are different meaning of single word. So in Punjab, Punjab is also a province in Pakistan. So in Punjab, the meaning of that particular word is different. And when you go in Sindh, so the words meaning will be entirely different. So ultimately, if you go in that particular culture, in that particular community, you need to understand their values, their language, and the meaning of that particular word. Or sometimes you act or react in some kinds of situation which is not acceptable by that particular community, then definitely you can face some types of trouble or problem in that particular culture. So you can conduct the formal interviews, you can conduct the informal interviews. So when we talk about informal interview, there is no need to fix the time, date, and place with the participant. So in case of informal interview, you are already in the fields, so you are conducting this particular research in the fields, you are not in the labs. So ultimately, the outcome of these kinds of informal interviews will be the field notes. So field notes will be the document. For example, I have the documents, and I can show you that. For example, uh, I have this particular document of my university. So if I open this particular document, so I have different notes. So this kind of document you can use during your ethnographic research, and you can note down the different points on the on that particular document, and you can easily generate the focus group. You can easily generate the field notes. So I'm going to show you the example of field notes. So this is the wonderful example of field note in which you can see that the researcher also drawn the diagram or that particular area, or that particular houses or the people, and also the researcher linked all these things, and also provided some information relating to that particular link. So this is the example of field notes. We can also conduct the observation, and through the observation we can also convert our all observation on the document, which is known as field notes. So this is very important. In ethnographic research, we also go for the informal interviews, and the outcome of informal interview is your field note. So similarly, we can also go for the participant observation. So we can observe the surroundings. If the researcher is already in that particular culture, he can observe or she can observe the surroundings, and how people act or react, how they live, how they travel, how they believe and communicate. So all these kinds of things they can observe and note down on the field notes. So this is another way for collection of data in ethnographic research. So there is another way which is collecting the text or the symbols, their language symbols, how they communicate, how they convey their message, and also you can also capture some images or photographs. So these are your qualitative data. Later on, you can conduct the content analysis on those pictures or the textual information. So that would be the documentary analysis. So these are all kinds of different ways for the collection of data in ethnographic research. These are all recommended ways. So one by one, I can show you the pictures. So collecting images, you can capture the images. For example, in that particular picture, you can see that maybe this is the some religious festival. So this particular person is dancing, and all these persons are, they are also actively participating. So they are clapping. So you can find, so they are celebrating some maybe religious or maybe some cultural events and in that particular region. So you can capture their photographs, and you can capture the mentality of that particular community, how they live, how they act or react on different kinds of. So this is very dangerous thing. So ultimately, if you break some, rules, or if you hurt them, ultimately you can face some types of challenges in that particular community, because this is conducting ethnographic research is not a simple task. So if we talk about the informal interviews, so formal interviews, you can see this particular example.
Dr. Lodhi, is there any audio with this video?
Yes, there is audio.
Yeah, but
So
I think there's something wrong with the audio. At least I cannot hear it. Maybe we'll see if anybody comments and see if audio is okay on their side, because I
okay,
cannot.
okay. Okay, no problem. So this is another example. Just you can understand that if you cannot be able to listen the voice of this particular interview, so no problem. You can just see that what is going on. This is the formal interview, the time and the place and the everything is fixed. So the interviewer is asking some sort of questions, and the interviewer is answering those questions. So this is the example of the formal interview. So I discussed the both formal and informal interviews, and now we are going toward the next part. I already discussed that this is the observation and field notes. Researcher is already in the field, and the researcher need to observe the realities around, some kinds of what is going on in that particular community. So how they live, how they behave, how they communicate. So all these kinds of things the researcher needs to document on the field notes, because researcher is in the field, so he is not in the lab. So that's why we are giving the title to that particular document as field notes. So these are the field notes, and I have already shared the example of field notes. So when we conduct the interviews, then definitely uh, we after conducting the interview, we go for the transcription of the interview. So transcription mean conversion of audio or video recorded data into textual form. So there are some softwares available. You can put the interview files in those softwares. Software automatically transcribe the voice and provide you all the transcripts. So there are some challenges in softwares. Normally, companies who produce and who sell the software, they claim that software can transcribe up to 90% or 95% in accurate way. So sometime when you transcribe your interviews through the software, so software will not be able to 100% give you the accurate transcription. So there is accuracy, rate is vary from software to software. So, but when you go for the manual transcription, so it is very labor extensive work. So you need to listen the line or statement of the interview one by one, and then you need to write the things on the document. Maybe if you're using some softwares like MS Word, or if you're using NVivo software for transcribing your data, so transcript will be generated through the software. So it is very labor extensive if you go for the uh, in manual transcription. So this is the example of manual.
Dr. Lodhi, can I ask a few questions, because there are several questions in the chat. I think that
Yes, sure.
let's answer some questions, and then that way we can make it a bit engaging also, right? It's a good time I stopped you because you talked about labor intensiveness of these type of data collection tools and research, right? So we have one question from Omar Iqbal. He is saying that what is your suggestion to an early researcher to opt for this type of research versus empirical research from publication perspective? And I think what Omar means is that when you do a research like this, ethnographic research, you have to spend a lot of time first to collect data, then to transcribe it. It takes a long time to then publish it, right? What would your suggestion be? Okay. Dr. Lodhi, I think, has some disconnection issues. So I will try to answer this question for you, Omar, and then when Dr. Lodhi is back, then we can get him answer as well. So in my opinion,
Another type of ethnography, you go
Dr. Lodhi, excuse me, you are disconnected. So as soon as I finish the question, then you were disconnected. So we didn't hear anything you said.
Okay, so Dr. Faizan, please confirm, can you hear my voice?
Yes, yes, now it's okay. Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. So, Dr. Faizan, this is very good question. So, for the beginner, if you are going for the publication, so ultimately it is very difficult because this study is very time taking, and normally fundings or funding agencies are involved in these kinds of studies. So, but if you are student, and if you're early researcher, or if you're beginner, then definitely I will recommend you to go for the organizational ethnographic research. So in organizational ethnography, you can conduct the same kinds of things in the organization. You go in the organization and you spend your time, you stay there, you understand their culture, their values, their communication, their structure, their order system, how the order flow from the top level management to the lower level management, and how people behave or misbehave with the other colleagues. So these kinds of things you can observe, you can get the pictures of photographs, you can also understand how they celebrate their the birthday of different employees, how they motivate their employees. So you can understand their culture, their communication, their values. So that kind of study will be the organizational ethnographical research. So it will not take much time, and the things will be more clear because the if you go for the organizational ethnographic research, then definitely normally in the organization people are well educated, they can give you the interview, they understand the value of the research, they can spare their time for your research. So in this way you can conduct your study as organizational ethnography, and you can quickly publish your research paper in a good journal. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to add something here very quickly because there might be some people who are working in sociology or in other fields that is, about society or cultures or things like this, where there may not. So Omar is working in business management because I know Omar. So for him, yes, organizational ethnography can be a very good option, right? But for others, I think the way all of us should think, researchers, that there's no one size fit all type of formula. So this is a tool, right? Ethnography is a tool. Now you look at it, you see what are the benefits, what are the limitations. Now the benefit is it's very rich in data. You can have a better understanding of things. The limitation is it takes time. Then you need to match this to your own situation. What are you doing, right? Do you have time? Do you not have time? If you are a PhD student, let's say in Malaysia, then you just have to take a couple of courses in the start, and then you have 3 to 4 years to finish your research. So you can certainly do something like this ethnography in that type of a context as far as you start it very early. So you should be very clear on what you want to do. And then if you start it in your second semester or something, you can pretty much do it. I think I saw one of my friends here, his name, Sam. He was studying for PhD in Taylor's University. I think now he is at Curtin University in Malaysia. I think his research was also very ethnographic because his research was focusing on indigenous people in Malaysia, in those remote areas, people who live in islands and stuff like this. So I remember that he used to travel to those places to get his data and everything, right? So in that type of situation, I think it's very important that you understand your context versus the strengths and the weaknesses of the methods that you're adopting, right? Now, also you need to understand your organizational psychology because there are several universities where they do not prefer qualitative research versus quantitative research. And then there are other universities and places where there's more focus on quantitative research, right? So all those things need to be fixed. I mean, these are realities, right? So when you get into your PhD programs, then you would have to realize this type of stuff. Okay, thank you, Dr. Lodhi, for this answer. I know that Siddhan here, Dr. Siddhan had a question. So instead of flashing the question, I'll just let her ask that question.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Fazan. I would like to add one more thing. If you quickly publish your research, you can also publish it online. Ethnography research is
Okay, I think Dr. Lodhi again got disconnected. There's some issue with the internet. So I hope everything is okay because there was a earthquake in Pakistan yesterday. So I hope things are okay. But anyways, while we are waiting for Dr. Lodhi to get back, let's see. Okay, we had a couple of questions that I can answer maybe before Dr. Lodhi comes and. All right, Siddhan, maybe you can unmute yourself and then you can ask your question and I'll try to answer your question.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Lodi was talking about the interviews. I mean, person-to-person interviews, face-to-face. But in these interviews, when we conduct it face-to-face, we are able to observe the person's mimic, body language. That's why we can take notes for ourselves about their reactions. But nowadays, because of COVID-19, we have to conduct these interviews online. I mean, like this. So we are not able to see those mimics and body language and other stuff. So how can we optimize our interviews? How can we gather enough information about those type of things? That was the question, actually.
Sure. So Dr. Lodhi is online now. Dr. Lodhi, while you were offline, when you disconnected, I also flashed Siddhan's question here. And it's a very valid and very relevant question in the current situation. So she is saying that when we do interviews on Zoom or whatever online platform we use, right? In this situation, it's difficult for you to look at body language or look at, how a person is moving or, what is it the person mimicking or whatnot. So how do you make sure that you do not miss those type of details in virtual interviews? Dr. Lodi, can you hear us? Okay, I think there is some issue with Dr. Lodi. Hold on, hold on. Okay, I'll ask Dr. Lodhi. I don't know if Dr. Lodhi can hear
Yes,
me
you're
on.
right.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, Dr. Faizan, can you hear my voice?
Yes,
Is my voice clear?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay, that's perfect. So, Dr. Faizan, I would suggest all the participants who are going for the quick publication, they can apply the Netnography. So it is another, portmanteau of internet and ethnography. So this is the new concept introduced in 1995. So I'm just going to talk about netnography in our next slides. So this is very wonderful technique, and inshallah, I will talk about that particular technique. So can we move toward the next phase?
Dr. Lodhi, Siddhan has a question. Can you see it on your
Okay,
screen?
no problem. So
Right?
could you speak?
Yeah, so Siddhan's question is that these days, because of this situation with COVID, we do a lot of research online. Interviews become virtual and we use Zoom or other platforms, right? So in this situation, we cannot observe people's body language or mimicking or something like this. So how can we optimize the virtual interviews so that we don't miss any data?
Okay, Dr. Faizan, there are different limitations. If you go for the digital ethnographic research, then definitely you cannot address all these kinds of issues because you will miss some kinds of depth understandings about the culture, their values, their behavior. So ultimately, you will miss all those kinds of things in case of online interviews. So but we cannot say that this is not the ethnography. We can say that this is another kind of ethnography which is known as digital ethnography. So there is another extension of the digital ethnographic research which I am going to address in today's session, which is known as netnography. So today I will also talk about netnographic research, how we conduct netnography, and what are the different dimensions, and what are the different benefits of conducting the netnographic research.
Sure. Dr. Lodhi, I will ask one more question because Satinder asked it very early, and I don't want Satinder to tell me that I am not asking this question, right? But before that, I want to add
Okay.
something very quickly to Siddhan's question. I was reading one article recently, and they were saying that for online interviews or online data collection, right, when we do, especially qualitative data, so when you do it in person, you take some notes about the respondents as well, right? How did they dress, or what was the environment, or how, just to make the context clear. So this article was mentioning that you can also do that in online environments. So for example, now you look at my background, look at Dr. Lodhi's background, look at Siddhan's background. This is all different. And it also gives you some indication of the personality of the person that you are, interviewing at that time. Even some people say that these days you are using virtual backgrounds, but virtual backgrounds are also different. Some people use ice creams in their virtual background. Some people use cats in their virtual background. So that can also give you some idea about the respondent that you are interviewing. So those type of things can help. Anyways, Dr. Lodi, the last question, not last, but in this round, Satinder is saying that can we develop new concept having no any literature even for the first time? It will be used in literature. I don't know if it's relevant to ethnography or not, but maybe if you want to answer this.
Okay, Dr. Fazan, this is 100% relevant question because when we talk about qualitative research, the purpose of qualitative research is to develop a new theory, or we can also extend the existing theory by doing the qualitative research. So if the word is never spoken before, you can also discover some kinds of new words in different cultures. So there are different new words go in that particular culture where you are going to explore some new meanings and some new words. So ultimately, when you will come back, you will be having a lot of new words in that particular culture, in that particular language. So these kinds of words will be the, new theory. Theory mean the new principles, generalizable principles, accepted principles. So ultimately, the principles will be accepted in that particular culture. But after that, if you test those words or meanings in some other cultures, then definitely, if you find the same results, same meanings, then ultimately you will declare that this is the theory. So this is how the theory emerged. This is how the theory is developed from the specific areas, and ultimately after that you will be able to generalize those concepts, those theories. So this is basically the relevant answer of that particular question.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Lodhi.
So
You can share your screen,
if you
please.
don't have the question, should we move
Yeah,
toward the next slide, please?
sure. Sure, but please share your screen because the slides are not on
Okay,
screen.
thank you so much, Dr. Fazan. I'm going to talk about how we can integrate the different, different data collections. So there are different ways of triangulation.
Dr. Lodhi, please share your
So
PowerPoint
Dr.
slides.
Fazan, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear your voice, but your slides are not shared. So if you want to share your screen, then we can put your slides up.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Faizan. So I'm going to talk about the triangulation and use of multiple types of data in ethnographic research. For example, we have three different types of data in this particular slide: images, interviews, and field notes. So the first way to integrate and apply the triangulation, you can integrate all kinds of data in one, in one box. So what will be the output? Output will be the integrated findings. So in this way, you can integrate all kinds of data you have collected during the ethnographic research, during your visit in that particular culture, during your meeting with those people in that particular culture. So interviews are available, field notes are available, images are available. So what you are going to do, you are going to integrate all the findings from those kinds of different data. So there is another way for integrating the data. So this is another way to triangulate. This is the data triangulation in ethnographic research. We can apply the Venn diagram. So there are different, types of data. For example, A, B, and C. So in you can also go for the commonalities. So S is the point where you can find some realities which are common in A type of data, B type of data, and C type of data. So there are two very common ways to apply the triangulation. The first way is to integrate all types of data in one box, and the output of that particular box will be the integrated findings. And another way to for triangulation is to overlap the data, so or compare the data. So after the comparison, you will find some overlapping area. For example, S is the area where A, B, and C, all the different types of data, their findings from the data are overlapping. So this is another way.
Okay, I think there is some issue with the internet. I hope it gets better. But while we are doing it, I don't know, somebody asked a question about how important is attitude in ethnographic studies. But I'm not sure if it's about attitude of the interviewer or the respondent, right? So if you can clarify this in the chat, I think it's Kilic Fehmi Arslan. if you can clarify this, it will help a lot, so that then we can get an answer for it. Now, while we are waiting for Dr. Lodhi, let me ask you, Dr. Siddhan, have you ever used the qualitative research in any of your studies?
Yes, I have.
How was your experience? What was it about? What did you use?
Okay, we had interviews with hotel managers and hotel employees, two different studies actually. We had interviewed with more than 40 people in one study. And because of COVID-19, we had to do it online. So that's why I felt a bit uncomfortable when Dr. Lodhi was mentioning about all those stuffs, because the mimics and of course, I knew it before, but when he was mentioning, I realized one more time how important they are. So it was online interview in my study.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is important. Like, I many people generalize this stuff, right? And when it comes to qualitative, it has so many more complications in it, like you said, right? So, anyways, Dr. Lodhi is here. So I'm gonna be quiet and then I'll let Dr. Lodhi continue.
Okay, Dr. Faizan,
Yes,
I
sir.
would like to talk about the different tips for the data analysis of unstructured data because your data is unstructured. So you have conducted the informal interviews, you have taken the data from the images or pictures, you have also taken the data from some documents or the textual facts. So ultimately, there are different types of unstructured data. So your observations are also unstructured, your interviews are unstructured, so ultimately you are going to analyze your data. So the best tip for the data analysis you should apply different types of qualitative data analytical tools. So there are different options. You can apply NVivo software, you can apply MaxQDA, you can apply Atlas TI. So there are different options available. You can choose one of them, and the software will generate different types of wonderful, amazing findings. You can apply tag clouds. So in this particular diagram, you can see that some words are large and some are small. So according to these words, you can interpret your findings because on the basis of word repetition, the frequency is generated. So on the basis of frequency, software generate these kinds of wonderful diagrams, and you can put in your thesis, in your research project, and these are different, have different meanings. So there is another wonderful diagram. It is word clouds. You can also apply word clouds, and you can also apply the word trees. So after applying word clouds, this is the first step in NVivo, and when you apply the different queries, then you can move toward this particular step number two. So for example, if tradition word is very prominent, so we can draw the word tree of tradition. So this is the word tree of management. So here you can, if you go for the word tree of tradition, you will find the tradition word in between these two statements of trees. So this is another technique you can apply using NVivo software. And there is another way to explore your finding. This is very wonderful, very amazing, because it tells a lot of themes. So this is a tree map. So tree map, we can draw the tree maps from the different themes, first order themes or the second order themes. You can, in different orders, you can explore different types of themes, and software will automatically generate these kinds of visual, very wonderful, meaningful, presentable findings you can report in your research project. So this is the tips, and I would like to talk about the netnographic research. So this is the last topic, and after that, if Dr. Faizan will allow, then definitely we'll be having some question answer session. So when we talk about netnographic research, it is all about doing the ethnographic research on the internet. So there are different groups, WhatsApp groups, social media groups. There are different groups on Facebook, Twitter. So through the hashtag, you can explore the data about a particular topic, how people act and react on digitally on the different groups. So you can explore the different information. So this is text mining. So there are different text mining softwares. They are available. You can apply, for example, Leximancer. Leximancer is a very famous software for the text mining, and if there is some voice problem, you can also see the visual diagrams or the wonderful findings generated through the Leximancer. So this is only 1 minute video. Okay, audience, this is very wonderful software. You can apply Leximancer on the social media analysis and on the basis of different proximity or the correlation in the different words. Softwares generate different types of themes in different colors, in different sizes. So this is very wonderful, and you can explore the meaning from the textual data. This is text mining tool we can apply on the data from social media or websites, or maybe you can apply on the you know, this is the concept of web mining or the text mining. So these techniques are very wonderful. You can explore the meanings from the data, from the text, and on the basis of different proximity or the correlation in the different words, you can explore such kinds of very wonderful findings. So there is another way to explore and to apply the textual analysis on the data from Netnography. So you can also apply the sentiment analysis. Sentiments are the feelings. So we already did the video on sentiment analysis with Dr. Faizan. So you can also find on the internet. So this video is available on the same channel, research based, and this is very wonderful, comprehensive. So this is Dr. Faizan, and so these are different sentiments, positive, negatives, or the mix. So we can apply on the data from social media or the data which is already in the textual form. So we can apply, we can identify the themes, we can identify the themes from the paragraph, from the line, from the statement. So these are our choices. We need to choose only one option to explore different types of feelings or, you know, emotions. Software automatically explore the different positive or negative feelings from the data and make the cluster. So this is very wonderful technique using NVivo software. So this video is available, and you can watch this particular video on the same channel, research-based channel. So audience, thank you so much for attending this training session. And now house is open for all. You can ask the question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lodhi. I'm really grateful. I just want to explain this to everyone that normally there's a whole course on these type of methods like ethnography or qualitative methods or quantitative. It's no way possible to cover everything in like 1 hour or 1.5 hour or something like this. So the main reason why we are doing these sessions is for people to know that there are these tools as well. Right now, these are just introductory sessions, and then hopefully we will have some detailed sessions, much more detail about each of this tool, right? So, Dr. Lodi, you talked about field interviews. There can be a very detailed session on that, or observations, or organizational ethnography or netnography. Very detailed sessions can be done, but this one is just an introductory session for you to know these different type of tools that are available. Because traditionally, in Pakistan and other countries, developing countries, you see that many people who are doing quantitative research, they only go with survey. People who are doing qualitative research mainly go with interviews, or one sometimes focus groups, but not any other tool, right? In fact, a couple of days ago, I saw a good friend of us, Professor Matin Kozak. He has a journal, Anatolia, an international journal of tourism, and there was a very interesting study. I looked into it. I have never seen something like this before. So in that study, the researchers wanted to look at how kids think of tourism. Like, they ask small kid, what do you think of tourism, right? So of course kids cannot say a lot of stuff, so they let kids draw the things. So the kids draw the things and then they analyze those drawings to come up with findings, right? So there are a lot of tools available, very innovative tools where researchers can apply those type of tools. Anyways, thank you again, Dr. Lodi. There are questions. I will let Dr. Siddhan handle the questions. Like, she's going to ask those questions, and maybe then if you have some time to answer them.
Okay, we have several questions, Dr. Lodi. One of them is, what is the difference between case study and ethnography? Dr. Lodi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So do you have any questions?
Yes. The first question is, what is the difference between case study and ethnography?
So case study is the in-depth analysis of the individual unit. Unit may be some person, or maybe the historical event. Some people do the case study of the history in political sciences or in the historical studies. So the case study may be on some organization or the country, or on department, or on a particular tribe. So case study, we explore the case study. We explore the realities by applying the case study research design on a particular individual unit. So I already mentioned that individual unit may be a person, maybe a group, maybe a department, or maybe a company, or maybe a country. So on different levels, you can conduct the case study, and the purpose for doing the case study is to link the reality with that particular context. So this is basically the understanding of the case study by the guru of case study, Robert K. Yin. So we can apply the different elements or different design components of case study by Robert K. Yin, and the book is available. So when we talk about ethnographical research, it is all about the research regarding the culture. It is the complete study of the culture group. So in case study, we can also conduct the cultural study, but in particularly in ethnographical study, there must be the study of the culture. But in case study, we can also conduct the case study on any other topic. It is not mandatory. You need to conduct your case study on the culture. So the case study has broader, perspective, and but in case of ethnography, you need to be very focused on the culture.
Okay, thank you. Another question is about, for the ethnographic research, do we have to focus on some cities in country, or do we have to select randomly by our choice?
Okay, for example, you need to go for the quantitative data. In Pakistan, Statistical Bureau provide the data. If we are going to conduct the ethnographic research in that particular region, or district, or the province or city of Pakistan, we need to understand the different indicators or the different data of that particular region where you are going to conduct your ethnographic research. For example, if they have high maternity rate or mortality rate, so you need to conduct the ethnographic research why the mothers die after the birth of the baby. So ultimately, uh, if you find some facts from different statistical reports or statistical departments, then after understanding the characteristics of that particular region, you go for conducting the ethnographic research. You need to involve in their culture, and you need to send some women uh, for exploring the realities, why mothers die after the birth of the babies, or maybe the babies die after some period of time, or maybe because there are different types of mortality. Infant mortality is different. So ultimately, in these kinds of things, you need to understand the complete data or the main indicators about a particular region or the city where you are going to conduct your ethnographic research. So this would be the reason of conducting the ethnographic research in that particular culture. So you need to justify why you have chosen that particular region for your ethnographic research.
Okay, there is another question. The role of researcher is very important in ethnographic research. Do you recommend, or is it feasible to conduct a research on same phenomenon by two or more researchers and the aggregate outcome considered to be more authentic? It's kind of long question, but I can repeat it again if you want.
Yes, Dr. Sedan. Yes. No, no, no,
So,
no. I
Dr. Lodhi,
understand this question.
yeah,
So this
let me.
question, this particular ethnographic research can be conducted by a single researcher or multiple researchers. So multiple researchers are recommended because this is not the task of a single researcher. So there are different problems, and you need to apply the investigator triangulation. So there are different types of triangulation, for example, data triangulation, methodological triangulation, theoretical triangulation. So you must need to apply the investigator triangulation. There must be more than one investigator in ethnographical. Maybe not more than must. I should use the should be, not must be, should be. There should be more than one researcher in ethnographic research.
Okay, and there is another question. Can you please guide which research design is more relevant in medical research? So this is a very interesting question.
Okay, so I have already given the example that in some regions, for example, some diseases are very common. So you can conduct the ethnographic research. What are the cultural values or the lifestyle or the things? What is going on in that particular region? You need to send the team of the researcher to that particular region. So to dig out their values, culture, behavior, beliefs, living style, living standards, all these kinds of things. So the purpose is to protect or prevent that particular community from that particular disease. So in this way, you can conduct the ethnographic research in medical sciences.
Okay, thank you. Let me see if there is another question. Yeah. May we say that it is an effort of knowing more about undiscovered phenomenon through this ethnographic research design?
Yes, Amir Abbas, you're right. We conduct ethnographic research to convert the phenomena into meaningful concept. So this is the journey from starting from phenomena and ending on the concept. So the concept will be the meaning of the culture, behavior, language, communication, and their beliefs of that particular culture. So this kind of design can be easily applied in the field of tourism. So we can conduct, because a lot of people travel in different cities of culture. So their purpose is to understand their particular culture. So they can capture the photographs, they can live their community. So, but ultimately, the most challenging thing is funding, time, and ultimately the output. If you are investing too much time, you will be having only one study, only one research paper, only one finding from one study. So ultimately, people do not waste their time on doing ethnographic research. So now this is the age of digitization, and the things are on the digital platforms. You can apply the netnography rather than going for the simple ethnographic research. You can explore the data from different communities over the internet, our social media, over the websites, over the blogs, over the different discussions, over the experiences of the people. They share, they post the things, pictures, their videos on the social media. So in this way, you can conduct the netnographic research rather than going for the ethnography.
Okay. There is one more thing. There's one more question. Please guide how to make interview guide, and we do not support large data, how to manage it. But Dr. Faizan has already mentioned about something about this topic. Dr. Faizan, can you please re-mention maybe to
Sure,
cover
sure.
this question?
Yes. So, when I reached out to Dr. Lodhi for this session, then we actually decided that we are going to do these sessions regularly, 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, and talk about different methods. Introductory, I mean, obviously, we don't want to do too much of stuff because it's not possible to do it like this so long time, right? I mean, we can do it in the future. We are planning for a research methods course as well, but for now, we are planning to do these 1 hour, 1 hour, 15-minute sessions where we talk about different specific tools. So this question is if we can guide them about how to come up with an interview guide. And I think it's a good topic to talk about interviews in an hour. What type of interviews? What do you need to consider when you come up with an interview guide and the questions and everything? So maybe I'll invite Dr. Lodhi in a couple of weeks again to talk about interviews in detail. How about that, Dr. Lodhi? Dr. Lodhi, can you hear me? Okay, so I guess there's some
I think
delay.
your voice is going to Dr. Lady very, very late.
Yes, yes, I think there's a delay. There's a delay there.
Yes.
But anyways, I mean, so this is what it is. And So we are already 20 minutes over the advertised time. So I think it's time that we wind it up. I am again grateful to Dr. Lodhi for accepting my invitation and talking today. Obviously, every time he explains something, it's very insightful and it's very helpful to understand
Okay,
difficult.
definitely we can go for another session for the interview guide.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. So, and then thank you, Dr. Siddhan, for helping me with hosting the event today. And thank you to every single person who joined, who asked questions, or who just listened. I know in several countries it's a bit late, and then people are still joining. So thank you so much once again. And then I would say please support me by subscribing to the channel and sharing it with people who you think would get some benefit from these videos. And the best way of knowing what's happening is to follow the Instagram account. Dr. Siddhan is managing that. It's Instagram/ResearchBeast. The other one is a Facebook page. So Facebook has a page on
Definitely.
ResearchBeast. So every single thing that we do advertise it on these social media channels. And then also those of you who signed up for this session today, or anything that we did in the past few months, I have your email addresses, so I'll also send an email with the developments that we have on this channel, so that it can benefit you. Dr. Lodhi, somebody is asking for your research, for your email address. So I don't know if you have it readily available. You can share it, and then I can share it on the screen. Okay, let me. Achmat Swedero. The easiest way, I mean, maybe Dr. Lodhi can share it also, but I think you can also Google him, Dr. Rab Nawaz Lodhi, and then Pakistan, UCP, then you might be able to find it. But let's see, in a minute, maybe he will share it. Okay. Siddhan, do you have any questions in the end?
No, thank you.
Oh, okay.
And there is question about interview protocols, but you have already mentioned that you will have another session about this. That's why I'm not asking.
Yes. So Sabah, very soon, I
Yes.
see your question. Very soon we will announce another session on interviews in detail. That way we can answer and discuss everything about interviews. Okay. Thank you again, everybody. Thank you for joining. You should all stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully we will see you next week with another webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.